I'm Aaron Graber with Ventrac, and this is the Ventrac Post Mower. Today is an exciting day because, as you can tell, this is a very unique attachment. This is a total departure from anything else that we've ever built. It is highly unique, very specialized, and incredible at performing the job at hand. The reason I personally find this attachment so fascinating is because what's actually happening on the attachment end is pretty complex and there's a lot of moving parts, but then the job that's getting done is very simple. The goal here is to try and eliminate a task or eliminate hours of task by keeping you from having to do handwork. Today, we're going to walk through a little bit of the benefits of this and then also how to use it, how to set it up the right way. We're not going to do a full breakdown of all of the technical specs. We're going to leave that to the Simple Start video. So for those of you who are going to purchase this attachment, look out for that video in the future because it'll go through all of the need to know about how to run this and get the most out of it. Looking at the Post Mower right now, you can see that the way we have it configured is to be off to the left side of the machine. But the first thing that you need to know is that the Ventrac Post Mower can go to the left or right side. That is also a seamless and tool-free operation to shift that from one side to the other, which we will show here in a minute. And it allows you to run down a fence row in either direction depending on what the conditions dictate. At its core, the fence post mower operates like many Ventrac attachments. It has its own hydraulic system. You can see that right here, the hydraulic tank. And it's run off the tractor PTO. The reason it's a hydraulic system is because we're using a hydraulic motor to spin the blade on the mower deck. And all of those hoses have the flexibility and the path to be able to move in different directions and swing away behind the post as you're working. You could run this on any of our 4520s or 4500s. It uses a standard front PTO and one hydraulic outlet. Now I want to talk about the business end of this attachment because this is what people are going to care about the most, and this is the part that's actually getting the work done. This is take two because I just talked about all the dimensions and it took me like 3 minutes to walk through, and I think it was probably more confusing than it needed to be. So I'm going to try to condense it and give you just the nuts and bolts, everything you need to know. Okay, the deck itself is 27 inches of cut width from outer edge to outer edge. There's a single blade underneath driven by a hydraulic motor. That's all very easy to understand. No difficulties there. The depth of the deck is 3.5 inches. That's important to know because that's what you're going to be putting underneath the lowest point of the fence in most cases. But occasionally, you'd be putting this piece underneath the fence. This is 10.5 inches from the ground. The next highest point is this upright here at 19 inches. So that gives you kind of reference of what you're working with for how far underneath you have to get whatever fence you're working on. The interesting thing is, though, you have to also account for cut height. So this 3.5 inches, if you're cutting at a 2-inch cut height, now becomes 5.5. So don't forget to add that in to what you're actually working with when you go out and measure your fence and decide if this is going to work for you. The other critical dimension here is that from the outer edge to this motor housing, almost all the way around this deck, it's a little more, a little less in some spots, but almost all the way around this deck is 9 inches. This right here is going to be your working zone for most fence rows because by the time you account for a 4 to 5 inch cut height and the 3.5 inches of deck height as well, this is the only zone that's going to be able for you to work with to get underneath any low-lying areas. Occasionally, obviously, if you're working under solar panels or some other place where there's much more clearance, you'd be able to put this whole head in, and it's good to kind of understand how this all nests together for that reason. This is also a technically side discharge mower deck. This chute right here to the inside is where the grass discharges. And when you rotate this from one side of the tractor to the other, this is always pointed kind of into the machine. That way it's not putting that discharge out towards the operator. So I gave a brief mention there about solar farms because that's an area that we've also used this mower to pretty good success. And it's worth talking about what other applications you could use this in. At its core, we built this to be a fence row mower because there's a huge market out there of people who are suffering through that task with equipment that's inadequate or using hand labor and taking endless amounts of time. So we wanted to give an option for those people and have it on the Ventrac and have it be really functional. It's also worth talking about what its limitations are. So you can see as this deck is sitting on the ground, it's perfectly parallel with the flat ground. As you raise it, the linkage that attaches it to the main frame keeps that deck parallel to the ground, which means you're also not letting it fall over to the end. So it's not going to be good on something like a bunker edge or any other grass type area where there's a sharp drop off and it's angular. You have to be able to hit this at basically the same plane that the tractor is driving on to get a good cut and a good finish out of it. So that's not to say it won't function in that way. You could certainly trim around the pond edge or around something where there's a steeper drop off near landscape features, but you'll just have to know that the deck isn't going to track the ground in that way because it's going to be on the same plane as what the tractor is. Operationally, it's pretty important to know that this is a very simple mower deck to run. You simply put the attachment in float, and it's got a flat free caster that the attachment rides on so it tracks the ground. And then you turn the PTO on and it does track to engine RPM because it's a hydraulic system on the tractor and it's a hydraulic final drive. So we recommend running it at full RPM. We see a wide range of maintenance programs when it comes to fence rows. Some properties are elite and they have people with string trimmers after every mow. It's a lot of labor. Now, frankly, we think this would probably be a better approach for them to save that labor. But we also see the other end of the spectrum where people have fence rows that they maintain once or twice a year because it just takes so much time and they don't want to spend all that time every week or every month. That's what this attachment is for. It's to be able to add frequency to the task and limit the total number of hours spent. So if you have a fence row that's going to take you 8 hours twice a year to string trim, this is a type of attachment that could turn that into 10 to 15 minutes once every few weeks, and it's always going to look nicer. Of course, there are also maintenance benefits to this. If you're constantly maintaining those fence rows, you're not going to get saplings that start, you're not going to get debris or anything that grows up into electric fences. This just makes it a much better, more functional way to maintain those fences so that they last longer over time. Of course, this wouldn't be a Ventrac video if I didn't talk about the fact that this attachment is on this tractor and the benefits of that. A fence post mower is not a new thing. Plenty of people have made them in the past. Ours is a little unique because it goes on the front of the Ventrac. And because it's on the front of the Ventrac, you have access to terrain that you might not otherwise have access to. Everyone knows the benefits of the Ventrac on duals. All of those benefits still apply in this application. But the nicest thing about this is that the fence post mower is on the front of the tractor. Most of the time, you're going to see these things on the back of small compact tractors hanging off the 3-point, and all of the maneuverability and visibility challenges that presents makes that a pretty challenging task to actually accomplish. Having the cutting deck in front of the operator with perfect visibility to either the left or the right side and on the platform of the 4520 and the ability to drive across terrain makes this about the easiest way that you can maintain fence rows that I know of personally. We designed and built this to be as affordable as possible while still being durable and commercial grade to get the job done long term. If you go looking on the internet, you will definitely find more exotic fence row mowers than this. Generally, they are actively controlled. Oftentimes they'll spin around the post. There's a lot of things that they do to try and make the job perfect. And what we've found in testing some of those and also building this one is that there's a point of diminishing returns where if you build it to that extreme, then it works okay, but then it becomes such a maintenance nightmare that you spend just as much time maintaining your gear as you do actually trying to get the job done. So we went for an approach that we feel like is going to be the best mix of performance and long-term durability. What this doesn't do is catch the back side of the post, and that means you have to go on both sides of the fence, or you have to allow for some other way to take care of the other side. So you're going to have some overlap on the front side and the back side as it hits the post and swings around it. And then what you can do also is you can back up once you've passed the post to get a little bit more coverage if you want. So what we're going to do next is show it in a few different configurations. There are 5 notches on the main frame of the post mower. The middle notch is a transport position, and then there's a position 1 and 2 on both the left and right side. Position 1 allows the post mower to be the furthest away from the tractor, and the cut edge is 35 inches past the outer edge of single wheels. In position 2, the cut edge is 27 inches past the outer edge of single wheels. With dual wheels, the post mower is 23 inches past in position 1 and 15 inches past in position 2. All of those measurements represent the entire working range of the post mower, whether it's on the left or right side of the tractor. It's also important to mention that that working range can be shifted 4 inches to the right. And when I say right, I mean the operator sitting on the seat, looking at the attachment to the operator's right, and that's the only direction it can be shifted. So when you do that, you add 4 inches to all of your reach to the right side, and you decrease 4 inches to all of your reach to the left side. It is important to mention also that that is not a quick procedure. Every other adjustment on the post mower is tool-free and able to be done in real time on the job, but shifting the main frame on the hitch is only done in the shop by removing bolts and then retightening everything. Shifting the attachment 4 inches to the right is going to be a common application because most people are going to want to reach as far away from the tractor as possible. Obviously, we're giving you the ability to have that mowing pod closer to the tractor in a few different ways because it helps you get in narrower, more confined spaces as well. But the most important thing to say about that outermost position is that even if you are reaching as far as the post mower is capable, it does have the ability to come back to the other side of the tractor and still cover the dual wheels. Now I want to show the process to change this from the left to the right side, because as I talked about earlier, it is tool-free and it is pretty simple to do. Basically, all you need to do is raise the attachment up, put the kickstand in the middle position, which I've already done. Once you do that, you'll raise the cutting deck to the highest position, and then you'll use the features of the attachment to swing through and change it left to right. This isn't something I'm going to talk through right now because I'm going to show it as it happens, and then we'll just see the ending position. So I've got the kickstand down, I've got the mower deck all the way raised up to the 6-inch position. All you'll do is pull this pin over here, raise this lever, grab the whole attachment and swing it this direction. You'll go past the middle position, which is a transport position, and you will lock that lever in over here on the right side. Step 1 is done. We've moved the arm over to the right position. Now we need to do step 2, which is to move the pod and swing it around to the right position. First thing to do there is to pull off this lever, and it's just got a little storage position. We're using this to be able to hold the deck, and this gives you something to hold on to. There's a gas shock right here, and there's 2 positions. This is important to say because this is an adjustment that you can make. Right now, and how this machine will ship is that it is in the position closest to the mower spindle, which gives it the most amount of tension. If you want to decrease the breakaway force, then you would move it to the other hole. So depending on where that hole is too, this is easier or harder to move. Obviously it's not that bad, but this is the most amount of force that the deck has on it. The other thing that you want to do is grab this chain and pull this back. Give yourself something to loop to here. And then that holds the deck in place while I manage the caster wheel. You simply pull this pin, pull this out, and then you can release this chain. This will then swing all the way around to the other side. I'm going to switch this position so I've got a little bit more leverage on it. And I'm going to come this way with it and bring the chain this way. That holds it over there. So then we slide the caster wheel on, put the pin in, and then the last step is to pull the lever, take the chain off, let this bump up against the stop. And as you can tell, we are now on the right side. Put this pin back. And store our chain. And there we have it. For me, the post mower is a shining example of the Ventrac promise. That promise being, when you buy into the 4520 platform, you're not just buying what you have today, you're buying what is possible in the future as well. This is a futuristic attachment. Up till today, this did not exist, and doing this job in this way was not possible. But now you can combine all the benefits of the Ventrac with the benefits of this new attachment, and you can really transform a job that was something that had to be done into something that you get to do. The results are fantastic, it saves a ton of time, and it's Ventrac through and through. People use a lot of cliches to describe products like this that change the way that people work, and I'm not a fan of any of them because none of them really capture the essence of what's happening here. So my recommendation to everybody that's interested in this is to go out, get on a demo, see it at your local dealer, and see how impactful this piece can be, because it totally changes the way that you work on your property. If this is something that is interesting to you in that way, please visit us on the website at ventrac.com. Leave us a comment on this video, we'll be sure to get back to you, or call your local dealer to get eyes on this attachment and to try it on your property today. Thanks for watching.